My wife thinks my hobbies are unhealthy and childish, so she destroyed my Star Wars figures and banned me from gaming, but I don't know how much more I can take. Posted by you/Gonz_fish. Exactly as the title says, my wife has decided that I'm not allowed to pursue my hobbies anymore because she thinks they're unhealthy. Before we got married 7 months ago, I had several hobbies that I've loved for years. Playing video games for a few hours each week, collecting Star Wars figures, and painting Warhammer 40K miniatures. These are things I've enjoyed since my early teens, and they've always been a part of who I am. When we got married, my wife suggested we make some healthy lifestyle changes together. I thought she meant eating better and exercising, which I was totally on board with. But things took a turn when I went down to the basement one day and noticed that all of my Star Wars figures were gone from their display shelf. All that remained were broken limbs from a few of the figures. My wife was at work, so I sent her a text asking what happened to them. While waiting for her reply, I rummaged through the trash and found the figures in the large garbage bin near the garage. Most of them were torn apart or melted. Others had been burned beyond recognition. I took pictures of the damage and sent them to her, asking if she was responsible. That night, she didn't reply to any of my texts, but when she got home, I confronted her about it. What followed was a huge argument. She said my hobbies were immature and repulsive, and even threatened to stop sleeping with me unless I gave them up entirely. In the heat of the moment, I agreed to her demands just to get her to stop yelling at me. Since then, we haven't talked about it again, but I've been secretly playing video games and buying collectibles behind her back. Unfortunately, whenever she finds out about it, she destroys whatever she finds immediately. It's exhausting trying to hide something as simple as enjoying my hobbies, and I can't keep living like this anymore. I want to bring this subject up again and let her know how much these hobbies mean to me without starting another fight. What's the best way to approach this? Update next day. After reading your comments and reflecting on everything, I decided to test the waters by hooking up my Xbox to our living room TV to see how my wife would react when she came home from work. When she walked in and saw me playing, she immediately stormed upstairs and slammed the bedroom door shut. I followed her upstairs and found her angrily texting on her phone before she started screaming at me about how I was going back on my promises and how playing video games is unhealthy for our marriage. I told her that I deserve to have my own hobbies and that she doesn't get to control what makes me happy. She responded by saying that no real husband has hobbies like mine and told me that if I wanted those hobbies so badly, maybe I should go find someone else who would tolerate them. So that's exactly what I did. I packed a small bag and drove to my best friend's house for the night. I feel relieved, but also sick to my stomach about everything that happened. This isn't how marriage is supposed to be, and it's clear that something needs to change, whether it's therapy or divorce. Update 2 days later. My wife has been texting me nonstop since I left, asking where I am and demanding that I come back home immediately. At one point, she even claimed she was pregnant and accused me of abandoning our child, then backtracked a few minutes later when pressed for details. I've saved all of these texts in case they're useful for legal purposes later on. My lawyer has advised me not to confront or communicate with her directly until divorce proceedings are underway. For now, I'm planning to go back to our house while she's at work tomorrow to collect anything valuable or sentimental before things escalate further. Update next week. I spent several hours talking with family members and close friends about everything that's happened over the past few days. Everyone agrees that divorce is the best option moving forward, even if there are underlying mental health issues at play here, and they've been incredibly supportive throughout this process. One thing that stood out during these conversations was how many people admitted they had concerns about my wife before we got married, but didn't want to say anything because they saw how happy I was at the time. My sister told me she always felt like something was off about her, but didn't want to interfere in our relationship. I've been working closely with my lawyer over the past week to ensure everything is handled properly during this transition period. Right now, my priority is protecting myself emotionally and financially while also making sure my belongings are safe. Final update 2 months later. The divorce proceedings are officially underway. And surprisingly, my ex-wife has been very apologetic throughout the process, not just for destroying my collectibles, but also for how she treated me overall during our marriage. She even agreed to pay me a lump sum for the value of the Star Wars figures we mutually assessed together as part of our settlement agreement. Although this entire experience has been painful, it feels like a turning point in my life, a chance for growth after months of being stuck in an unhealthy relationship. One thing that surprised me during this process was how much support I received from friends and family, many of whom share their own stories about overcoming toxic relationships or dealing with controlling partners. Looking back now, it's clear that staying in this marriage would have only led to more unhappiness in the long run. And while divorce isn't easy, it feels like the right decision for both of us. Thank you all for your support throughout this ordeal. It gave me the courage to take action when I needed it most. Relevant comments. Dad underscore of underscore two underscore boys. You're 31 years old. Your wife doesn't get to let you do stuff. You're your own person. She's being completely unreasonable and controlling. Single accept pseudonym. Marriage doesn't mean your partner gets to dictate your life. Healthy relationships involve compromise, not control. Lucero, you cannot stay with someone who treats you like this. Divorce sucks, but admitting you made a mistake now is better than wasting years being unhappy.